Welcome to Midlife Marriage Mastery. I'm Lisa Neller, your host. And before I get started, I do have a guest today, and I want to share all that about Jeannie, my guest. But before I do that, I just wanted to remind you what Midlife Marriage Mastery means and why I picked that title for the podcast. So, midlife is the age between 45 and 65. At least right now, that's kind of how we see it. In 100 years from now, that may look different. We don't know. And then marriage is a union of two people through love, ceremony, and law. So I like to remind people that it's, there's kind of a contract there. It's kind of important, right? And um, and then mastery just means getting good at something. So we're looking at the time period of midlife, we're looking at what marriage is, and then we're looking at getting good at it. So with me today is my guest Jeannie. Welcome, Jeannie. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. Glad to be
Yeah.
here.
Okay. Well, I am going to pull up your bio and read this so that everybody has a little background on you. So, Jeannie is the host of the highly ranked Maximum Desire podcast, where she helps women in long term relationships rebuild confidence, deepen connection, and reignite desire, especially in midlife. She's been married for 38 years, is a mother of two grown children, and grandmother of two. Jeannie brings both lived experience and practical insight to conversations about marriage, intimacy, and personal growth. Her approach blends warmth, honesty, and actionable guidance to help women feel confident in who they are inside and outside the bedroom. A graduate of the University of Minnesota with a bachelor's degree and an MBA, Jeannie combines business acumen with relational intelligence. She previously co hosted two podcasts with her husband before launching her solo platform in 2021, where she expanded her focus to female desire, mindset, and long term attraction. I just love this. Her work centers on helping women understand that intimacy doesn't begin in the bedroom, it begins in the mind. I could not agree with that more. And we're going to talk about that.
Hmm.
In addition to relationship coaching and podcasting, Jeannie studies artificial intelligence and its emerging role in strengthening communication and connection. She is passionate about exploring how modern tools can support healthier marriages while staying grounded in timeless principles of respect, confidence, and emotional closeness. Through her podcast, digital tools, and speaking engagements, Jeannie empowers women to turn desire into lasting results. Jeannie, I am so happy that you're here today. And so I just want to say this is my very first interview on this podcast. And I've been doing all solo so far. And I just wanted to add some richness and some juice to what I'm doing. And I think your topic is very juicy. And so here's where I thought I would start. And sometimes I ask people to tell me their story, but in this case, I think what I want to do, because we could always go there, but I want to know what the hell is happening in midlife. Like, what is going on that makes this population special?
Well, first of all, I'm really excited to be on here. And my podcast, I don't interview anybody because you hear it's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So I don't do the video. So
Okay.
this is why it's really exciting. But I also like it because I can look at you and we're like having this one-on-one conversation. And then I can forget that anybody's actually listening to this because when I do public speaking, I'm always aware that there is a room full of people and I have to be careful about what I say. But I do want to talk juicy because this is a time in our life where we can be juicy and we're much more open as women because we know that we're not going to be 21 anymore. And
Yeah.
if we embrace who we are now, it can be mo the most exciting time of our life. But in the meantime, for some people, it's not because of hormones changing and relationships maybe are a little on the rocks. So it all adds up. And also women that are in their, late 40s, 50s, 60s. Some of us are taking care of our parents, which adds a
Yes.
lot of stress. So I think a lot of women are under a lot of stress and they're not feeling young, they're not feeling vibrant, and they're wondering what's wrong with them. But honestly, there's nothing wrong with them. And that's what
There's,
it's exciting that we can talk about this because there isn't, and we can just help give them tips and maybe
yeah.
tricks and how to even feel better about themselves because they aren't broken. They're normal.
You're normal. Are you listening out there? There's nothing wrong with you.
Hmm.
Sometimes, I mean, I think that's, part of this work that Jeannie and I both do is just lifting the veil,
Hmm.
of all the illusions and then getting down to who we are at our core. Um, I did not give you this question in advance, but it hit me this morning. I wanted to say, like, where does intimacy tend to fall apart?
Oh, you can ask me anything. So
Okay.
I might take a little bit time to think about it, but I think it's expectations
Mhm.
because I, um, I read a lot, interviewed people a lot, and everyone's different. And actually, I really get all of my material and content from real life people and what they're
Mm,
struggling with. And I think they have this perception that what intimacy is going to look like long term. And then when that's not met, then it's like, okay, this marriage is over. And that's not true. And um, I'm actually really concerned about the younger generation and their expectations for marriage as a whole.
mm.
And I want to give you an example. So I'm going to start juicy right away.
Okay, good.
Okay, so and cut me off if I'm a little too juicy. I will
Okay.
not be offended. But
Okay.
I went into a store. It's called Fascination. So I don't know where your listeners are from, if they're all over the world or just Arizona. But it's a store where they sell lingerie
And
and
more.
and more and toys. Yes. Well, I went in for something very specific, and it's been a while since I've been in there. And Fascinations has actually sponsored me in some of my speaking engagements for actually Women 360 that we're both in that networking group, and they sponsored me at one time. And I love the store. I love the people. They really want to make it classy, and the store is classy. I really feel it is. And
Yes.
so I went to the toys division, and what I was shocked to see was the amount of dildos. I
Okay.
mean, there was a lot, and there was all different sizes, shapes, and colors. And I just stood there, just thinking, why? I don't know. I'm not there, and I'm not judging, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I'm just thinking, what? There is just so many. I mean, this whole wall and a couple walls were full of them. Well, the young lady came to help me, and she was great. And I love people. I love their stories. So right away, I can tell you what her name was. Her name was Lisa. She's 28 years old. She told me about her relationship, and she was in a relationship for 3 months, and he left just out of the blue. And so once we started connecting, I said, "Why so many dildos?" I'm just kind of surprised. If everyone's having great sex, and you can have great sex with dildos too, but I mean, if you're really having good sex, why so many? And she goes, "Well, it might be the demographic where we're in, because this was North Scottsdale." But she goes, "A lot of people are single, and they're
Yeah.
staying single." And that's actually what statistics are saying. And she said, "So this is more of a supplement for intimacy." And
Mm.
I said, why do you think that they're staying single? Why, your generation, you're young. And she goes, this shocked me. She goes, I don't think we believe in love anymore.
Oh, wow.
Hmm. Yeah. And I said, I podcast and you just shocked me. And I
Yeah.
and I said, maybe I feel like I'm older than you are, or I know I'm older than you, and maybe that's an issue. And she goes, no, it doesn't matter your age. She said, a lot of us just feel it's not possible. And she goes, I believe in love, but I don't know if it's ever going to be possible.
Well, that's so funny because I have on my brain on a piece of paper, one of my next little short videos is all going to be about what does love look like? Because
Oh,
that,
yes.
like what do they think love is?
Yes.
So I think you and we need to educate some people about what that really is because it's not what's shown in the movies and all of that, right? Like it's a commitment, it's a mind there's mental work involved in loving someone and there's so many ways we could look
Lisa,
at what love is.
Lisa, for my listening audience that are going to hear this, could you tell my listening audience to how long you've been married and a little bit about your relationship so they understand your experience and
My,
education as well. I mean, your
yeah. So this July, so it's 2026 right now. It's March of 2026. And this July, we will be celebrating 40 years of marriage.
oh,
So,
beautiful.
and I know that you're right behind us. You've been married 38 years, and that's a long time. And we've been through midlife, so we kind of know some of
Yes.
the things that we're dealing with at that age. The kids leave and our roles change and our feelings change and all of that. But yeah, so and I've been with my husband for even longer. We dated 8 years before that, and then we met playing spin the bottle in junior high school. So we have quite a history, but that's kind of unique and rare.
I
But
love
thank you for asking. I appreciate you asking. Yeah.
I think it's important that the younger generation sees that we can make it to 38, 40 years. And my parents and my husband's parents were married, stayed married. My parents were married 50 plus years before my dad died. And my husband's parents were married 60 some years before his dad died. And then his grandparents were married 73 years before they passed away. So it's possible. And we're
Yeah.
missing something. And I'm
Yeah.
excited that we're talking about this.
Me too. Me too. So we're going to give people hope here. Um, but what's happening in midlife is all these changes, and we're going through all this stuff. And I mean, I've heard people just through like people my husband has known and other people that we've talked to, like some people have stop having sex very early on, and when I call early on would be in their 40s,
Okay. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Or even in their 50s. And I think that's young to stop having sex.
Oh,
Like I think,
yes.
it doesn't even start getting good until then.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that women understand how long we've been married because I agree
Yeah.
with you 100%.
And I have to say, I mean, our sex life is better now than it's ever been. And we did go through a period where there wasn't much of it, right? Like we might go 3 months at one point in our marriage, and that was in midlife. But now it's different. The kids are gone. We have a lot of freedom. We're both open-minded and all that kind of stuff. Let's talk about libido. Why do so many women believe that their low libido means something is wrong with them? And what is the truth?
Okay, first of all, there's nothing wrong with them. And I believe that, and I really do believe that libido goes down
Mhm.
because of several reasons, especially for women, because we carry a mental load, and this is my personal opinion and my personal experience, we carry a mental load more than sometimes our spouses because we're taking care of the children. We're not only working, but we have a lot of responsibilities, and that really wears us down
Yeah.
because we have so much to do. And sometimes we get home from work and we're so exhausted. The last thing we have energy for is sex. And I believe libido, and people could disagree with me, but I do believe libido starts in the mind. And what you do with your clients and what you do is so important because I believe that's where it starts. I do. Because um it affects so much of our body and we have to be in the right mindset because if we're not in the right if we're not in the right mindset, it's not going to happen in the bedroom. You can't just be stressed out and then go into the bedroom and expect amazing sex. It's just not going to happen as women generally.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there isn't
Um,
anything wrong with them. It's just the the workload, the and also a woman needs to feel safe too with her spouse. So if she feels safe and there's trust, um, that's going to help. But if it's not there, this can all happen and cause libido to maybe, go down a little bit or a
well,
lot.
that with hormonal
Yes.
shifts, right? Like your
Yeah.
libido can be reduced hormonally.
Hmm.
But I agree with you with regard to using, maybe using your mind. So let's do talk about an example here where someone might say, I'm not in the mood. This is like the most famous line, right? I'm just not in the mood.
Yeah.
How can someone get in the mood using their mind?
Okay. I really like this question because I'm going to give you an example. I asked a client of mine to use this, test this out. Okay. So I asked her to go to the grocery store when she's not feeling very good. And then go to the store, grocery store, same grocery store, and when she's feeling really sexy. Now, I said, get in the mood, just really feel good about yourself. You're feeling it, you're feeling the energy, you're dressed sexy, maybe a little cleavage, if you're feeling it, if that makes
Mhm.
you feel sexy, but feel it in your body. Feel that energy and because that energy is going to give off.
Yeah.
We're going to feel it. So she did, and she went to the grocery store. She was actually had a really bad cold, put her head down, and she said later she felt invisible. Later, she said this. And then she went, when she was feeling good, went to the grocery store, head up. And as soon as she walked in that grocery store, a woman smiles at her, gives this great big smile. And then she's over by the produce section and she goes, she's got her shoulders back. She's making eye contact. She's moving her shoulders. She's kind of feeling it. And she said later, when she explained the difference, the first time she felt invisible, but the second time she said, I think every man in the grocery store was looking me up and down. And I said, see, and I said, the only difference was, well, yeah, you were sick the first time, but you gave off the energy. You felt it inside first, and you were
Yeah.
giving that off. And what happens is you attract that. So it happened within your mind. You told yourself you were going to do it. You felt it. You visualized it, and it was felt by others.
Yeah. Wow. What a great example. I love that. Oh
I
my
do it
gosh.
too, though. I use that. I personally do that. I mean, I have to do a lot of mind work myself.
Yeah.
So, because honestly, I love feeling sexy. I love it. And I had to learn to claim it, take ownership, and accept it and not be ashamed. Not be ashamed. I think, I think women, when we get so busy taking care of our kids and our parents and whatever responsibilities we have, work responsibilities, because it can be very stressful. Sometimes over the years, we don't feel we deserve to be sexy or we feel guilty. I hear that a lot. And I hear that a lot with different religions, like not religions, but different faiths,
Mhm.
that they were trained, no, 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 you can't be sexy, you can't show any cleavage. And so they have that program, but somebody just needs to give them permission. Obviously, you can be sexy and act sexy and just own it and love it.
Well, especially in the home, right? Like there's so much you can do when it's just you and your spouse. You can wear something sexy if you want to, and you can exude that sex appeal around your spouse. And um, so, can you give us another example of how women can feel sexy again and confident? Um, what else can we do
Okay.
besides go to the grocery store and do? I loved that exercise.
Yep.
What else? What else can we do?
Um, I will want I do have to tell you a story that, well, it's a true story about being home and feeling comfortable. And we were invited to some friends of ours. I've told this story on my podcast before, and I just think it's funny because some people are shocked when I tell it. But a couple of our friends of ours that invited us over for dinner, and we were early. We're never early, and I don't think we're early anymore because of what happened. So we get there, and they're so open. This couple is so open and they walk around with no clothes on. Well, she was so comfortable. She's thinking because see, the thing is, because I'm a podcaster and I talk about sex, people think I'm a lot more open than probably I actually am. But so she
Right.
opens the door, buck naked, and I'm like, and then she realized I wasn't as open as that, and then they got dressed. But so we had a great conversation that entire night about that's I don't even think she even realized that she was naked when she came to the door because as soon as they get home, they take off their clothes every time they come home. And I'm like, and that's not me. That's not
Ah,
me. But everyone's different. I mean, everyone. So
yeah.
I don't want to put limitations on anyone.
Yeah.
But another thing that we can do, I have another example, is I have a 73-year-old friend of mine who's been asking me to take a dance class and I've been putting her off. and she knows it. I've been putting her off because I'm thinking I don't want to do like these chair, take a chair and you dance around the chair as an older person, and that
Yeah.
doesn't appeal to me. Well, I went 2 weeks ago,
Okay.
and I go and there's only like 5 people in the class. And so I'm like, this is good, it's good. And I'm feeling very comfortable. And all of a sudden, the instructor walks in, and she is like Marilyn Monroe on sex steroids. And she's like 40 plus. And she comes in, she's got a very voluptuous body. She comes in and she is excited to teach some class. And so we did stretching for 30 minutes, and our bodies were loose. It felt really, really good. And then is when we started dancing. And the best thing I could probably say is more like a striptease kind of dancing. And so
Hmm.
she moved her body in a way that was so sexy, and she owned it, and she didn't care what anybody thought. And again, she just moved her hips. And just felt herself, felt her body, and she really, really owned it. And then that whole class, again, there was only 5 of us, but you know, we're able to do the same thing. And when I felt, when we were done, I felt alive. I felt permission to be sexy because the blood was moving. I did something completely different. And the thing is, I work out, but I do weightlifting. So I'm not a petite woman, but the people in there are a little bit more petite and flexible. So my 73-year-old friend is 6 foot tall. She's lean, and her legs were going way up in the air. And we do have chairs, but we're dancing around the chairs, and their legs going straight up. And I mean, graceful and beautiful. And so my point is doing something completely different.
Yeah.
And again, I work out, but this was a completely different workout, and I felt amazing. It felt sexy. She made us, she got that sexiness, just kind of took it right out of us and brought it to the surface. And it was a lot of fun and a great
I love
exercise.
that. Sometimes you do need somebody to help you let loose a little bit. You need to be given permission. You need to be encouraged. We all need encouragement because
Mhm.
sometimes we feel less than, or we just don't feel that energy. And there are a lot of ways to increase your energy. And what um, the what's it called? Oh my gosh, I'm just having a brain freeze. I'm reading this book, Asking It Is Given. Who's that by? That's by
Sounds like a good
oh,
book.
the Law of Attraction. Law of Attraction.
Oh,
Sorry.
yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah,
yes.
yeah. So in the Law of Attraction, there's lots of things that you can do like that increase your vibrational energy or whatever, and it works. It
Yes,
really
it does.
works. So
Mhm.
wow, I really lost it there for a second. Okay.
But I also believe in exercise. I know that my mother, who has Alzheimer's Alzheimer's now, um, it didn't exercise all that much, and I do. And not that it's fun or easy or anything like that, but I do believe in moving your body, and I think it's great medicine. So even when I'm feeling depressed, and I think something that we don't want to talk about as women, depression. We don't want to talk about that because
Yeah.
it's a we could, there's a lot of different reasons why. But when I'm feeling low, I'll go work out, or I'll go to bicycle, I'll go cycling with, cycle class. And it just gets the blood moving and blood to the brain, and it gets you thinking better, gets you thinking more positive. Because I also do believe what your work and what you do, and the mind is number one. I believe it affects every part of our life. Everything that you talk about affects every part of our life.
Yeah. I think you and I talked recently well, exercise is good for your health, but so is sex, right? Like,
Oh, yes.
do you can you talk about
Yes.
the health benefits of having sex? First of all, there's pleasure involved, and
Yes.
I just hate for women to pass up on that.
Yes.
Pleasure and ecstasy can be
Yes.
wonderful for your brain and your body. Can you talk about that a little bit, Jeannie?
Yeah. Um, we talked about this before, but there are different faiths and how women are. Well, I'll just name it. I was raised Catholic, so I'll pick on the Catholics. But in the Catholicism of people are taught that having an orgasm on your own, like a woman
Hmm.
masturbating and feeling pleasure, isn't something they believe in. Okay, so I'm not here to put anybody down that's listening of any faith. So you just take what we're learning here with a grain of salt, use it, and if you can't use it, just throw it out. Just use what you can. But
Right.
I believe in the pleasure. And the reason is because the clitoris has like 8,000 nerve endings, and it could actually have more, and it's created just for pleasure. But because that was tested on um, animals actually. So we actually could have more nerve endings than that, and we have more nerve endings than a male's penis. So again, that clitoris is just for pleasure. And I'll tell you something, when I talk about that, men get really excited because
Mm,
they want to please a woman as well. And if a woman would learn her body, learn what pleases her, because we're complicated. But if
yeah.
we spend time really figuring out what pleases us, it's going to help our partner. I'm telling you, so your partner will be so grateful. I mean, your sex life can't help but be exciting and wild and wonderful once he taps into these erogenous zones that are very pleasurable. And even orgasms can actually release pain. So if a
Mm,
woman has an orgasm and she's in pain, it can release it, it can relax, it can help her fall asleep. There's many benefits also for relationships when when you can help your partner please you, it causes a deeper connection as well. And you just keep wanting to have it more and more because it gets better and better over time. So yeah, there is a lot of I don't remember all of them off the top of my head, but there's so many that you just I just feel sorry for women who don't enjoy it and they're missing out. And it's funny because I'm in the gym a lot, so I talk to men. I get a lot of content from men, and they said, "Oh, they can tell if a woman is being pleased or not." And I've
yep.
asked, and almost 100% of men said that they can tell when a woman is being pleased.
Well, there's moaning and groaning and
Yes.
you know, there so many things that, oh, we shouldn't talk about that. Oh if my grandmother heard me now, she would be mortified, right? She is. She would just not believe that I'm talking about this stuff. All right, let's see. Many midlife women say, I love my husband, but I just don't think about sex anymore. What's happening there psychologically and physiologically?
Well, physically, it could be her hormones.
Yeah.
And but also, I have a secret that I want to share with you at the end. So please remind me. I want to share something I learned because I talk about hormones a lot. So if women aren't checking their blood work, with their doctor, also, I think this is really important is that when we're talking about hormone levels, if you go to your doctor and they say that your hormones are fine, you're in the right range, and you just still, you're not feeling well. And women that are listening, when you're not feeling well and you're not
Yeah.
up to feeling healthy and vibrant. Um, you could be on the low range, but if they bump you up to the high range of whatever it is, testosterone, estrogen, or progesterone, it can change your life.
Mm.
And so those ranges, I don't know if they've changed them, but I go to a specialist, so I've been going to her for many, many years, and she told me that those ranges were developed like 50 to 60 years ago, our grandparents' time. Plus, they weren't getting hormone treatments, and they were also told, "You're old, deal with it." I'm
Yeah.
I'm not going to deal with that. No way. I am living a vibrant life. And she said that. So these doctors that specialize in HRT, hormone replacement therapy, um, understand that. So they look at the blood work, the panel's a lot different, and urine tests, saliva tests different. So I hear a lot of women say, "Well, I'm in the right range," and they still don't have, um, a, a desire to have sex with their spouse. So this is why I got something exciting to tell you. But also, I really go back to the mindset too. Is she preparing herself? Is she in the right mindset? Is she feeling it? But also, if a woman has any resentment or bitterness towards her husband, that can really affect it. There's no way she's going to want to have sex if she's not, you know, feeling it and feeling that connection with her partner.
Well, where does resentment come from? I love that you brought that up because it's so true. If you're feeling disconnected in your relationship, you're not going to want to have sex. Forget about it. I
Exactly.
don't.
I think I I think about this a lot, and I use my marriage because I have a really amazing husband. Not perfect, gotta say that, not perfect, but he's very thoughtful and very attentive. And I think about the times when I get bitter or resentful, and it's because I'm doing everything. And then I get mad. And I'm like, I have to do everything. So why do I'm not going to have sex then because I'm doing everything. And then it builds up and it builds up. And I think it's important for women to, first of all, acknowledge when they're feeling bitter or resentful. You got to own that. You got to catch yourself and then figure out why. So do that steps, that mindset work that you talk about and breaking it all down and own that because I also believe it's really hard, but we need to stop blaming our partners. We need to stop blaming and start taking responsibility and ownership on what we can control and then have a conversation. See, and I'm all over the board here because my mind's going 100 miles an hour, but is break it down and talk to your spouse without blaming that person. I think it's really important and just
Yeah.
say um, when they don't have that desire and they're not feeling it, is to sit down and have a good conversation, but just ask curious questions
Mm,
instead of saying, you know what, we're not having much sex. We're not. And because then it's the other person's going to get defensive and they're going to close up and they're going to shut down. And I think it's like asking questions like, what would great sex look like for you? Have a good
hmm.
night where you're feeling good, you're not going to blame each other, you're all in a good place, and just ask really curious questions. And,
Yeah,
and then go from there.
there's so much that you just laid out there. The first one was about resentment, and I did a podcast episode. I literally just uploaded it today, so it'll air next week. But it's about changing negative behavior through a certain way of thinking.
Mhm.
And yeah, instead of blaming, instead of feeling resentful, we start to look at our thoughts and what are we really thinking that's making us feel that way. And then we can take those thoughts to inquiry and get serious about what is reality here? What's really, am I really mad about him not taking out the garbage? What thoughts am I having about that? Or, like you said, sometimes we feel like we're doing too much, we're doing it all. And yeah, you might be feeling that way, but there is a way you could address that in a very curious way. Like you said, hey, like,
Mhm.
how would you feel if maybe you emptied the dishwasher this week for me or something
Mhm.
like that? Like just
Mhm.
asking really nicely. And it's funny. There's another mini episode that I did that talked about um, doing more of what your spouse likes. And the more you do that, and the more they do that for you, the happier things will be, right? So I went into my husband the other day and I said, "Hey, what would you like more of in our relationship?" What do you think he said?
Sex. Do you say sex?
He didn't say that exact word, but that's what he meant.
I love it.
So, and then also I have in the past sat down with him and asked him this question, and this is years ago now. Um, do you think, well, we have a pretty good marriage, right? Yeah, so far. He'll say, yeah, so far. I go, well, do you think it could be better?
Oh,
And
what did he say?
he said, well, yeah, I guess it could be, not like, yeah, definitely this sucks, but it
Yeah.
was more like, yeah, I guess it could be. Well, okay, like how? How could it be better? What could we do to make it better? So anyway, I love the fact that you come with this idea of curiosity, stop the resentment, be more curious, and bring your sexy into it as much as you can. Now, there is a midlife issue that this is a physical issue that women deal with, and that is a dry vagina.
Mm,
Some women dry up down there and it is a problem. It's painful, they bleed, the skin has their vagina is basically atrophied, right? If you've heard of this. And
mhm,
it's funny because yesterday I just saw an ad for a supplement for women who suffer from that. So there's a lack of collagen, a lack of hyaluronic acid, and for me, it was hormones. Like I've been on hormones for a very long time,
mhm.
and I had a hysterectomy last year, and my doctor said, You have the vagina of a 25-year-old.
Wow, that is a huge compliment. That is wonderful.
Well, and she was during surgery was telling her people, that
Oh.
this woman has a vagina of a 25. So we were laughing about it, but we both know that I've had hormonal help here. So I just want to say if you're out there and you're thinking, I don't want to do HRT, it's not for me, do the research, like really talk to a few naturopathic doctors who um, prefer to put you on that than to put you on any kind of uh, psychotropic meds or whatever, like antidepressants or things like that. Like, um, they really do have positive benefits for your body, your entire body and your system.
Yes. So I want to tell you my secret
All right.
because
Yay.
that it affects libido, dryness, everything. I don't know if you've heard of this. Are you familiar with peptides very much?
Peptides. I've heard of them. It's a buzzword now or
Yeah,
a word
yeah.
I've been hearing. Yeah.
And basically what it is, and I'll just put it really quick in a nutshell.
Okay.
They work with your body. So what it does, it triggers what's already producing in your body to produce more. So it's not like taking medicine. It's not like taking hormones. It's actually just kicking it into gear. And I don't even know how many peptides we have in our body or anything. But so a friend of mine was telling me about this peptide, and it's called PT-141. And her husband, they had a little package, and they got it at Prime IV, which is an IV place. You can get IVs for hydration, and they bought it, and it's kind of expensive, but it's a little you put it on your tongue, and it melts on your tongue, upper body or on your upper mouth. It just
Like soft palate, maybe soft
yeah,
palate active.
and it just dissolves. And I'm telling you something, you wait like 20 minutes, 45 minutes, and it kicks in. And what happens is it says that it helps with the brain. It triggers the brain because sometimes we have troubles with the brain in our mindset, right?
Hmm.
It is amazing. And so she told me a lot about it. So I went and I have this Prime IV right across the street from where I live. I went and bought a package. And I said to them, they had to have a nurse explain to me what it does. And I said, "Does it work?" And she goes, "Uh-huh." And she goes, I'm not one that really likes sex." And she goes, when I use this, I wait about 45 minutes and then I start getting really wet. So it
Wow.
lubricates the vagina. And then
Okay.
every single nurse in that office talked to me because I said, I want to talk about this on a podcast. And every single one of them said it works for them. And I've never heard anything that works, but I got even a better story. Then, one said she had to take it like 3 times. Well, I have a group of friends and we talk about sex all the time. And they all been married and they're very open with me and they give me lots of content. They tell me what works in their relationship, what doesn't. They find out from other people. So they're a real good source for me. Well, we started talking about this and they started taking it about a month ago. And you can get it in serum form too. There's peptide companies all over. You just got to make sure they say for research only. So I'm just telling you, you got to check with your doctor. I don't want to be sued at all for selling this, but it's research only and check with your doctor. But um, I tried it, the little things that you melt on your mouth, and then I tried the serum. And oh my husband too. Oh my gosh. He won't be embarrassed if I tell you this, but he gets hard. I mean
Yeah.
hard. And then I'm just dripping wet. I
What?
get an hour. And so anyway, I was discussing this with another woman this last weekend, and I'm going to do a podcast just on her story. I'm going to interview her. And I've known this because she's talked to me many times, she could never have an orgasm. And if
Oh,
she did, it was very difficult. Her husband really had to work with her a lot. Okay.
yeah.
Then she said a month ago, she tried it. And I don't know which form she took. But anyway, she said she started having orgasms to the point then she had orgasms internally that she had to beg her husband to stop. And she's now multi-orgasmic and's never been able to have an orgasm. Well, very rare. And so In fact, she was thinking about seeing a doctor because she just wasn't having any orgasms. And this just it she said it clicked something in her, just snapped it. It was like, but it works with your own body.
Yeah.
And then she said I don't know how many times she took it, but she goes, I'm not taking it anymore because I'm so exhausted because I have orgasms internally and clitoral on the clitoral orgasm. So I can tell you firsthand it works from personal experience
Wow.
and the
Well,
testimonies from other women. Yeah.
that's amazing. So this is peptides PT-141. They come in
Yes.
a serum or a tablet that, or something that you
Yeah.
put on your tongue.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it does it make you horny or does it just
Yes.
or does it okay, I was just wondering if it affected your libido in that way or if
It
it
does.
just helped you have lubricate and that kind of thing. But it sounds to me like it really affects you.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
like this better because I don't like taking medication. And I don't think you're not a person that I get that likes taking medication either. You seem very healthy, want to do everything the healthy way. And
Yeah,
I only take medication that I have to take. And that there's no, I can't get around it like thyroid. I have a low thyroid, so I have to take that. But and then
me too, by the way. Yeah.
and so in fact, that's something for women to check too. If you're feeling really low and stuff, check your hormones. I mean your thyroid.
Your thyroid. Yeah.
It just, you feel it all over your body and you feel things. It's intense. The feelings are more intense. And
Okay.
I think I'm not a drug user, uh, recreational drugs type of thing.
Right.
What people have told me is that do and have used drugs, that this is better because you have no side effects. It's not hurtful to your body. It is actually working within your body to get those parts working. And you only take the PT-141 when needed. Now, the other peptides that are out there are for healing. I take some that are different for like healing because I work out and my recovery is slow the older I get. So I take it for quick recovery, and that's something you can take every day. But this is something I don't even know if you'd want to take it every day because you'd probably be in bed all day. In fact, this is a little bit more information than you want to know. But my husband and I took it one time and we were in bed all day.
I hope you were having fun in bed all day. Or were you
All day,
like,
yes. It was all day. That's the kind of fun. In fact, we were having so much fun that we had to stop and take a nap, and then we started again and started, and we decided to take the day off. It was a Saturday just to have fun, this is when it's really good. When my husband said, "Oh my gosh, I have never been so exhausted and worn out and tapped out in my life."
oh my, but it was a good exhaustion.
Exactly. Yes. So there's
Well,
hope for women, and I say that especially for women who don't want to take the HRT, the hormone replacement therapy, or they're doing it and it's not working.
yeah, because yeah, sometimes it doesn't do what we hope it's going to do, but
Right.
we try to get the balance, but we don't really know until we try. Well, Jeannie, I think this is a great place to stop. And rather than do a part two, I think we should just do this again sometime.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we could probably talk about this for hours.
Mhm.
But I think we'll take a break and have you come back. And maybe we'll focus on a specific area that we
Yeah.
want to talk about and help women with.
Yes.
And that could be, self-esteem. Like there's so many things that contribute to your sense of self in the bedroom. And I'm just really grateful that there's somebody like you who's willing to talk about these things. And I know you're not, I sense, I know you a little bit. We've met for coffee and you're a Christian woman and you are high moral values and you're not way out there. You're just really trying to help women have more desire and a deeper intimacy with her husband,
Hmm.
and vice versa, right? And
Right.
so tell everybody where they can find you.
So I'm not very good on social media for a reason, because I kind of hide a little bit. I've been told I hide. I think it's because of the topic I talk about. So if you really want to listen to more about what I talk about, is my podcast is called Maximum Desire, and you can look under Spotify. I think I'm on Amazon as well, and then Apple Podcasts. And then I give you details. So I have a stand store, which is where you can reach out to me more and even ask questions. Or I have several books there. Also, my husband's in there too. and my trainers. So if you have questions on training, um, spiritual questions, it's all in there. You have access to that. And that link is in my notes in my podcast as well. But I'm moving a little bit forward on the social media piece, but um, the latest episodes I've done is on sex and AI because that's really up and coming. So if you're
Oh,
really
yeah.
interested in that, I'm not endorsing I mean, I'm not suggesting some of the stuff I talk about. I'm just making people aware of what's going on out there with AI.
Yeah, yeah, awareness is great. I think that's great. I did listen to one of your episodes on that, and it was enlightening, I have to say.
And before I forget, I do want
Yeah.
to say something to your listeners is that my husband and I did listen to several of your podcasts, and I want to tell you that your short episodes are really good because you give the situation and then you give tips. And this is what's really funny, and this is why I really encourage people to talk to their partner because I listened to the mini marriage mastery one that's like 4 minutes, and we're in the car, we're listening to it, and it's stuff I'm talking about stuff way out there like AI and how to have wild sex and wild toys and all that kind of stuff. And so you're giving very practical tips, and we get done. And I thought my husband was bored, right? Because I talk about crazy stuff sometimes to get people to think, just get their mind open. I said, "Well,
Yeah.
what did you think?" "Oh, that was really good." And I go, "What? What?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Why did you think it was really good?" He goes, "Because she's right. The stuff she's talking about, the tips, like touching your partner." And I go, uh-oh. And I said, and it's just like the question you asked your husband, can we improve on our marriage? And I think this is why these podcasts are so helpful, especially as a woman. If you listen to them, have your partner listen to them and have him give input on this episode or any of the episodes of yours and have them, you know, uh, critique or talk about it because he was talking about, he says, we forget the small things. And that's
Yeah.
exactly what Lisa's talking about. Just touch me when you walk by me. You can touch my arm. You can just, touch my face or give me a kiss and he's that type of person that loves that stuff. Well,
Mhm.
I don't really care. And so it
It's not
was
your love
so
language,
good.
maybe, right?
Yeah. So I just really encourage people to listen to those episodes because most of all, don't assume you know what your partner's thinking. Most
Yeah.
important.
Well, thank you very much for saying that, Jeannie. I appreciate that. And I've so enjoyed you having had you as a guest today on this podcast. So thank you so much. And we'll do this again. Listeners, thank you very much for listening today. Please share, and we'll see you next time.